Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Level 1's second revision lesson of A Simple Guide to Tajweed series brought to you by Blossoms of Faith. Today we will continue to review more rules by applying them to some examples from the Qur'an. This is the second lesson of 2 revision lessons on most rules that we have learned in this level. In this lesson, we will read more examples from the Qur'an. In each example, we will demonstrate all the possible stopping and continuation instances. Please note that we are only stopping after each word for the purpose of demonstrating the applicable stopping rule. In this example, Sheikh Ahmed will read each word, showing how to stop at the end of this word and how to connect it to the following word, applying all the rules that we have learned in this level. Also, he will show us how to start with Hamzat-ul-wasl. At the end of the first word, he will stop, changing kasra into sukoon. An. If we connect the first word with the second word, we have to skip Hamzat-ul-wasl, connecting noon, which is originally sakina in the word an, to ayn with sukoon in the second word. To avoid having 2 second letters following each other, and because noon is not a mad letter, a kasra has been assigned to letter noon. We will then stop at the end of the second word without change, as the last letter is waw mad, and the alif at the end of the word with a circle on top is always silent. أن يعبدوا أن يعبدوا. If we start reading with the second word, we have to pronounce Hamzat-ul-wasl. Since Hamzat-ul-wasl is not followed by lam al-ta'rif and it is not one of the 7 nouns, we have to check the Harakat of the third letter. We find that the Harakat of the third letter is Dhamma, and it is not one of the exceptional verbs. So we will assign a Dhamma to Hamzat-ul-wasl in this word. أُعْبُدُوا أُعْبُدُوا. Also, if we start with the name of Allah, we will assign a fatha to Hamzat-ul-wasl, as it is followed by lam al-ta'rif, which is shamsiyya, since it has no sukoon sign and it is followed by a mushaddad letter. Allah, Allah. If we connect the second word to the third one, we will skip Hamzat-ul-wasl at the beginning of the third word and lam shamsiyya after it, and the alif with a circle on top before it, as it is silent. And to avoid reading 2 second letters following each other, we will skip the first of the 2 second letters because it is a mad letter, which in this case is a waw mad, connecting dal with dhamma to lam sakina. We will also stop on the third word, changing fatha on ha into sukoon. أن يعبدوا الله أن يعبدوا الله. If we start with Hamzat-ul-wasl in the fourth word, skipping the waw before the word, we have to pronounce Hamzat-ul-wasl. When we check, we find that it is not followed by lam al-ta'rif, and it is not one of the 7 nouns. So we check the Harakat of the third letter. We find that it is fatha, because the mushaddad letter is composed of 2 identical letters. The first is sakin, and the second is mutaharrik, as we see in letter ta. So, we will assign a kasra to Hamzat-ul-wasl. When we stop, we will change the dhamma of the last letter in the fourth word into ha with sukoon. اتقوه اتقوه. Finally, we stop at the end of the last word by changing the kasra on noon into sukoon. أن يعبدوا الله واتقوه وأطيعون أن يعبدوا الله واتقوه وأطيعون. In this last example, Sheikh Ahmed will read each word, showing how to stop at the end of this word, how to connect it to the following word, applying all the rules that we have learned in this level, and showing us how to start with words that begin with Hamzat-ul-wasl. At the end of the first word, he will stop, changing Dhamma into Sukoon, and because letter Jim is one of the Qalqalah letters only when it is second, he will stop with Sukoon and Qalqalah.
تعرج تعرج.
If we connect the first word to the second word, we skip Hamzat-ul-wasl, connecting Jim with Dhamma to Lam with Sukoon. And we will stop at the end of the second word with Sukoon, changing Ta التأنيث into Ha sakina.
تعرج الملائكة تعرج الملائكة.
But if we connect the second word to the following one, we will pronounce Ta التأنيث with Dhamma, and we will skip Hamzat-ul-wasl and Lam التعريف as it is Lam Shamsiyya. And we will change the Dhamma at the end of the third word into Sukoon.
تعرج الملائكة والروح تعرج الملائكة والروح.
If we start reading with the second word, we have to pronounce Hamzat-ul-wasl. As Hamzat-ul-wasl is followed by Lam al-Ta'rif, which is rule number 1, we will assign Fatha to Hamzat-ul-wasl. Here, Lam al-Ta'rif will be pronounced as it is Lam Qamariyya, since we see the Sukoon sign on the Lam and no Shadda on the following letter.
الملائكة الملائكة.
If we start reading with the third word, skipping the waw before the word, we have to pronounce Hamzat-ul-wasl too. As Hamzat-ul-wasl is followed by Lam al-Ta'rif, which is rule number 1, we will assign Fatha to Hamzat-ul-wasl. Here, Lam al-Ta'rif will not be pronounced, as it is Lam Shamsiyya, since the Sukoon sign on the Lam is absent, and the following letter is Mushaddad.
الروح الروح.
If we stop at the end of the fourth word, we change Kasra into Sukoon.
تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه.
If we stop at the end of the fifth word, we change Tanween Kasra into Sukoon.
تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم.
When connecting the word that ends with Tanween Kasra to the following one, we will hide Noon Sakina of Tanween at the point of articulation of letter Kaf with prolonged Ghunna, as it is from set B where the Tanween Kasra is sliding and the following letter is not from Yarmulun. But when stopping at the end of the following word, we skip small waw and we stop, changing Dhamma on Ha into Sukoon.
تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره تعرج الملائكة والروح إليه في يوم كان مقداره.
When connecting the word مقداره to the following word, we pronounce 2 beats mad letter. But when we stop at the end of the following word, we change Fatha into Sukoon.
في يوم كان مقداره 50 في يوم كان مقداره 50.
When connecting the word خمسين, we pronounce it with Fatha. But when we stop at the end of the ayah, we change Tanween Kasra into Sukoon and Ta at Ta'nith into Ha.
في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة.
Thank you for listening and see you soon in level 2 where we will learn more rules inshallah. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.